We've got some
Hey, I'm Luis.
And
I'm Luis.
And you're listening to the Content is Profit podcast.
Listen. We spent the last 4 years learning the strategies and techniques from some of the top marketers in the world on how to create content that turns into profit.
If you'd like to learn more how to turn your content into profit, go to contentisprofit.com. Yeah.
All right, guys, today, how to build iconic brands through digital marketing.
Woo, baby. 5 years.
It's gonna be a good one. I think a lot of people need to hear this one, and that we'll see.
We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. Guys, before we get started, guys, please don't forget, go ahead and subscribe. Hit and smash that subscribe button. Make sure that your notifications are turned on because we'll let you know when the episodes come out. And please go ahead and follow us on social media at BeastBrosCo on Facebook and Instagram.
That's right, guys. And if you found this episode impactful, which I am sure you will, please don't forget to share it and leave a 5-star review.
All right, guys. So today we travel across the world. Here are some random facts from the internet to see if you can guess where our guest is from. They have the world's longest golf course. They have 10 out of the world's 15 most poisonous snakes, and hold, because this one is very important, they have 3 national Frisbee teams.
Hey, we all know we have to believe 100% everything that comes from the internet, right? But I think we'll better ask our guest about those facts, just to make sure. Today's guest is an incredible digital marketer that we have been actually following for a while, right? And not just for his cool accent, he does have a really cool accent, but for some of his awesome and educational content.
So today's guest helps business owners build iconic brands using digital marketing. He has built his agency from scratch and now gives employment opportunities to young people to do what they are passionate about. Most importantly, he's a husband and proud father of 2 kids.
Guys, please welcome iconic brand builder, proud husband and father, and Australian digital marketing expert, Anthony J. Murphy. Welcome, Anthony.
Woo. Welcome, brother. Welcome to the show.
What an intro, boys.
We do our best.
Yeah,
we try.
We're so excited to have you here. Before we start, we need to confirm those facts. Are those facts true? You know, the longest golf course, poisonous snakes.
It is true. Yes.
Yeah.
But I think one thing we do need to point out is that the snakes are few and far between. So don't be scared. Come down under, come to Australia, and we'll show you a good time.
Awesome. Guys, you heard it. Go visit.
Go visit. We're definitely booking our flight, you know, as soon as all this craziness ends and we can travel there. Here we go.
Yeah.
You know, my wife will be very happy that I head to Australia for a couple of weeks. So, dude, Anthony, I've been meaning to ask this question from the second we knew you were coming to the show. What happened in the next, what's going to happen to us in the next 12 hours? Because you're 12 hours ahead of us.
I can give you the inside scoop.
Yes, please.
You guys will be having a fantastic day. The sun will be shining. There's a light wind, and you guys will be crushing business like you always do. How about that?
Oh, I like it. I like it.
There we go. Yes, thank you. Pretty accurate. Thank you, my man. I appreciate it.
In 12 hours, we're going to roll this clip and we're going to be like, he knew it. He knew it.
He knew it. Awesome, brother. Dude, Anthony, extremely excited to have you here. I know we followed you for quite a while, and you reached out and like, guys, can I be on the show? I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, it will be truly an honor to have you here. So, to the audience, like, could you go a little bit and share with them who you are and why you do what you do now?
Yeah, look, guys, love that. And thank you for having me on the show. I've got to say, like, this intro, the production value, I haven't been on a podcast like it. So unreal, guys, unreal.
Thank you.
Yeah, so look, a little bit about me. I'm 30 years old, live in Australia, live down under. As the intro said, yes, I'm a husband, I'm a father, got 2 young kids. So life is very busy. And over the last couple of years, I have built a digital marketing agency as well. So it's been a crazy ride. The last 5 years have been really, really nuts, but it's been exciting in a good way. And I was only just talking to a mate the other day about how, you know, the first sort of one of the first sparks and seeds that I got around really wanting to start my own business was when I was actually hosting on my own podcast a mate of mine who ran his own digital marketing agency. And this was about 5 years ago. And I remember I got off that call. It was late at night as well. I think we finished at about 9 p.m. And I was so pumped. And Jack, this is Paul Raimondo. You guys can search him online. You'll find him.
Yeah.
And I got off that phone call and I immediately went and said to my wife, I was like, man, I'm like so pumped right now. If he can do it, I can too. And it was just like, you know, that was one of the defining moments, and it's been a crazy ride since. So, yeah, digital marketing agency. We help regional businesses become iconic brands. Attention Media is the name of the agency, and you know, it's been a great ride so far.
I love that, especially kind of like you had that moment, that epiphany moment in your story, right, where you're like, you know what, if he can do it, I can do it. And actually today I was editing a video where the person on the other side, the one of the video, was talking about stories, right? How we have these stories in our head. And I mean, I feel like we all know it, yet not everybody actually like are conscious about it, if you put it that way, right? Yeah. That when you find the right story, it's strong enough to kind of like induce that change in you, right? And that's what I see. That's what I see in you, that you're like, man, you had that story, you're talking to this person, and you were able to see yourself in his position, right? Like walking that journey and saying, you know what, I'm gonna do it too, which is pretty cool, man.
100%, dude. Look, and we could have a whole we could have a whole podcast around just that topic, right, guys? Like mindset. Mindset is a massive thing, and for me, like the last 12 to 18 months, the whole mindset game is just like, there's so much content we could cover just there, but it's like you said, Fonzie, it's about the realization that we all have like untapped potential, and the only thing that's holding us back is what's up here.
Yeah. That's amazing. I relate a lot with your story because I'm 30. I have one kid. You're beating me on that one. So any tips that you have?
Only a matter of time, mate. I'm sure.
Send them my way. But we started the business about 5 years ago too, and I think it's very parallel on how we started too. We saw somebody online. It was not our podcast. It was not an interview, something like that. We weren't even thinking about publishing back then, but we started helping or trying to help, or we thought we were trying to help restaurants at the time. We've gone through this story quite a while, and something that really interested me is that you work with regional businesses, right? And we started that way, and then we got a little bit out of that market in the past few months. I'm very curious to see like why you chose regional businesses, because a lot of people are like, dude, they're a pain to deal with. Just because there's not a lot of education out there. There might be business owners that have their hands in so many places. And when you're trying to get their attention, and you talk about your business being attention media, which is amazing, right? How do you deal with, how has been the experience with them, and how do you kind of connect in those conversations? Because a lot of those businesses nowadays need that help, need people like you.
Yeah. Oh, look, massive point there. And you're spot on. Like, I think the reason for us why we have sort of targeted regional businesses to this point is because we're regionally based ourselves, right? I live in a regional city. Population's around 70 to 80,000. So I mean, compared to most capital cities, it's very, very small, right? But where we're situated in Australia, there's so many great businesses on a local level that need help, need to grow their business, want to grow their business, right? And yes, you can always run into that problem where the business owner is so bogged down in the day-to-day that it's hard for them to get their head above the clouds, look at the business and go, we really need to do something about our marketing, right? But it's just a really key point of difference for me building the agency, right? We don't want to be just another marketing agency, right? So what we were really trying to do is bring the skills and the services and the knowledge that you would technically find in a big firm in the capital cities, bring that to the country, bring that to regional areas, and help local business grow, right? So that's the main focus. And the second reason why I went down that path is because like I live regionally, I grew up in the country. Don't get me wrong, love the city, love going to Melbourne, love that, spending some time in the big smoke. But we want our kids also to grow up, and have that sort of regional country lifestyle, lots of open space, all that stuff as well. And in order to sort of stay there, we need the local area to grow. We need businesses to grow. We need great schools, lots of opportunity. So it's like, well, what can I do there to help that happen? And, marketing is a big part of that.
I love that. I love that support local, right? Like I mean, we are in Jacksonville, Florida, and it's a city. It's a big city with a small town feel, right? But I've been loving, because I used to live in Texas and in Dallas, which is huge, massive, right? But when I came here, I started for the first time in my life, encountering that feeling of support local and help it grow. And I've actually seen it, right? I've been here for now about 6 years in Jacksonville, and I've seen the impact that it has on like giving back to the community and supporting these companies locally. So, I mean, props to that. And I have a question that comes from the story that you just told, right? You said kind of like getting the business owner's head above the cloud, right? How do you do that? Because sometimes it is tough, right? They are so into their business, in their operations, that, I mean, they don't know that much what's going on or what are their opportunities, right? Like, how do you go about educating themselves or finding the right customers?
Yeah, 100%. And it's a funny conversation, because so many like business owners are at all different levels when it comes to digital, right? You have some business owners who are up with it, or they have a good understanding and they know they need to do more, or they could improve on it. And then you have other business owners who have absolutely no idea really and no interest, but they have a great product, they have a great service, and it's a really good fit, right? So you're constantly like playing. It's all about education, right? It's providing value. Like, this is where your content comes into play, right? Doesn't it? Okay. You need to be educating your customers and your prospects. You need to be providing value. And, even working with a business owner who is, really passionate about digital marketing and knows that it can help grow their business and knows, the importance of good content, there's still things that you can teach them, right? There's always stuff that can be learned. So it's definitely an education game. And, in terms of us, if we're, trying to generate leads or attract prospects or things like that, we're about to launch our own masterclass sessions and it's like small groups, groups of 10 to 12 business owners. We get them into a boardroom and we run through a day's session on what digital marketing is, what it looks like, how they can implement it in their business, and what kinds of things other businesses are doing right to achieve success with digital marketing and or content, right? Because basically you can name any business, right? And you will be able to find one in the world somewhere who has had great success with digital marketing and online marketing, right? It's as simple as that. So it's an education game.
Yeah, I love where this conversation is going, because this might be like a masterpiece for especially like brick and mortar business owners, because that looks like this is your expertise. Now, what are some of the challenges that when you start working with maybe brick and mortars or like these regional businesses, what are some of the biggest challenges that you see right from the start that prevent them from diving head into digital marketing and this amazing opportunity that they have in front of them?
Literally, like, if you put yourself in the business owner's shoes, a lot of the time they're sitting there going like, where do I even start, right? Like there is so much content. There's so many experts. There's so many agencies. There's so much media out there, and it's very, very hard to kind of sift through all of that information and find something that is relevant and is going to work for them, right? And nothing has brought the digital marketing and the content marketing requirement into light as much as the current pandemic that we're in, right? So many businesses have had to close their doors, right? Or they can't have people physically, like foot traffic is no longer an option, okay? Yeah. So all of a sudden they're going, how can we keep making sales? What can we do? And, we've had an influx of people coming to us saying, we need to get online. Can you build us a website? Can you run some Facebook ads? All this sort of stuff, right? So it's kind of brought forward, like people have been pushed and forced to think about it a lot more. And for us, when it comes to like brick and mortar business owners, like you said, like getting started, it all depends on the business. Every business is different. Every business is individual. But at a core level, if we're talking about like just basic digital marketing, social media, and creating content, you need to just start at a base level and think about your audience. Like, what pain points can you solve? What problems can you educate the client on? And how can you provide them value rather than using your content or your social media as a predominantly sales driven machine, right? So that's definitely the first place to start.
That's awesome. I mean, I see a lot of, do you know who Chet Holmes is by any chance?
I've heard the name, yeah.
He has a book called The Ultimate Sales Machine.
Yes.
And you're
yes.
So I'm seeing a lot of the education type of it, right? That mastermind that you're talking about, bringing the businesses in. Again, I agree 1000% with you. Education is key, right? You're bringing them in, educating them. Like, hey, these are the problems you guys have. These are how you can tackle the solutions. And then, I mean, you're going to build so much rapport with them. By the end of the day, when they leave, they're going to be like, okay, like where do we sign to be one of your clients, right? We want you to help us. Because again, you are positioning, like we said in the intro, the Australian digital marketing expert. So that I think that's awesome. And the other thing is, you said kind of like the situation right now has helped you a little bit, has pushed and forced business owners towards you. I'm curious though, when it all started, how did you act? Were you afraid? What did you expect?
Look, actually, for me personally, I was super calm, for want of a better word. For us personally, at a business level, like I knew it was going to hurt at some point, and it definitely did. But we've been able to bounce back quite quickly, like I said before, because we had an influx of people coming to us saying we need to get online. But I knew that in this particular situation, we have a service that people really, really need, right? Yeah. So it was always a matter of the businesses were going to be okay if we could survive that initial first hit. And obviously so many businesses around the world have taken that hit. But I was fairly comfortable. I knew it's a matter of, and again, it all comes back to mindset, guys, right? It's you can freak out and you can panic and you can get down and you can get worried, but at the end of the day, it's not going to help you progress. It's not going to help you ride the wave and keep your business going or be able to keep creating content. Yeah. So it's about always trying to keep a level head, be self-aware, make sure that you are taking a positive and proactive approach, because then you've got the best chance at making the right decision at the right time.
Yeah. I love that approach, and I want to shift it just a tiny bit with you being a business owner, right? A lot of the people that kind of start in their content game is because either they own a business or they're an agency or whatnot. What are some of the challenges that you personally have faced since the start of your company, and now that you're building this team? And we relate a lot too, because we recently started to expand our team, knocking on wood.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's been a wild ride, right? It's super awesome, but at the same time, it's very scary. So what are some of the challenges that you guys have faced in these the last 5 years?
Yeah, look, and I mean the first 18 months of the business, it was just myself. It was in the lounge room at home, right? I was just working from my home office setup. Surprise, surprise, we're sort of back to that now. But for a long time, it was just myself. It was I was bootstrapping. There was no investment. There was no capital. Just starting from the start. Bringing a client on, doing the work, just building slowly, right? So. I knew at a point, a little slice of context, previous to starting the business, I worked in the family business. My dad and my uncle own a manufacturing company, and I worked in that business for over 10 years. So I had a fairly good grounding on just some normal business operations and economics and that sort of thing, which has been super helpful. Yeah. But I knew that if I wanted to take things to the next level and be able to, take on more clients and improve our service offering, that in order to scale, it comes from people, right? I have a limited amount of hours in a day. At that point, my first child was being born. So there was a lot going on, right? So that I knew I needed more people. And I'm also someone of the approach that, I don't know everything, right? As far as digital marketing experts go, like realistically, I'm towards the bottom, right? I want to be the dumbest person in the room, okay? So I want to be working with people, and I want to have people on our agency's team who are so much better than me at the things that they're good at. And I knew that was the direction that I wanted to take. Wanted to build a team, wanted to have a high performance team. So yeah, it's been a fun ride since then. We started with one person, and we built that team out. We realized that that one person who came on first was our social media manager, and he was helping me manage all the content and client work. And then we got to a point where a lot of our clients were having difficulty in either giving us content or creating content that they could use for their social media. So then we knew that we needed somebody in creative to come on board. So we hired a videographer, right? And he joined the team, and that changed things a lot, right? Because it opened up a whole nother revenue stream inside the business, creating content and then doing the digital marketing side of things, which has been super cool. And since then, we've hired another creative. So we've got 2 people in creative now. We've got our social media manager, and then we've got our digital strategists as well. So yeah, look, I love working with people. I love building a team. I love working on building a great culture. So for me, it's been a crazy ride. Not easy, but it's been crazy. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, by the smile on your face, we could tell that you are really enjoying this whole process, and you really care
100%.
about the team, which is very, very important.
Yeah, I mean, I first noticed that you care about the team when you put in part of your achievement, you know, that you had a team. I think you're probably the first one out of everybody that we've interviewed that in their achievements you put like, I'm extremely proud of having these people working with me, right? And I found that extremely interesting, right? Because I'm not gonna lie, like, and we had the conversation with one of the team members that we're bringing in, right? I think he has a little bit of an entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes.
And he's in charge of kind of like, with what we do, he's in charge of
digitalizing the content.
We call it value index, right? So he has to like see everything, you know, take like deep notes of like all the content that we get in from our clients. And inside, I'm like, dude, I'm so afraid, but excited at the same time that whoever is gonna be in that position, I mean, they're gonna be listening to all these entrepreneurs, you know, talk about, you know, risk it, like how good it is and all that, you know. And I'm like, dude, I'm afraid they might want to leave soon. But at the same time, I'm excited because I want them to grow. Like, I don't want them to be here just to be here, right? I want them to be in our team to grow and be better and all that. And
funny enough,
yeah.
Last week we got that phone call. They're like, "Hey guys, you know, I extremely I love this.
Yeah.
But I feel like I need to be going out and doing my own thing." I'm like, "How can we help you?" Right? Like it's exciting at the same time, you know, but that fear is always there. But at the same time, it's like, okay, how can you say no to somebody that wants to tackle that?
Yeah. So I have a question. You know, actually a while back I heard this phrase. I might butcher it. I don't remember it exactly, but it was somewhere along the lines of, you know, like, don't be afraid of spending in training your people, because, you know, if you don't train them and they stay, it's going to be horrible, right? But if you train them and then eventually it's okay because they're going to improve, but eventually they might leave, right? And I totally butchered that one.
Well, it was like what happens if you don't train them and they stay?
Yeah, exactly. Something along those lines. So my question was like, what is your approach with your staff, right? Like, and I think this might help some people from the brick and mortar too, right? Any business owner that they're trying to improve their team and grow them. What is your approach to that? Maybe education within your own company and helping them grow and develop.
So, like, massive conversation here too. And I can tell you that every single person that works for me right now has that entrepreneurial spirit and wants to build their own business. Yeah, right. Nice. Like that's the way it is, right? Like this is the world that we live in.
Yeah.
But one thing that I've always said to them is that if you come and work at Attention Media, you're not working for me. Like, I'm not a boss that's going to lord it over you and all that sort of stuff, right? I can't do, like, I haven't built, you know, we're still young. It's only a 6-figure agency, right? We're not a 7-figure or 8-figure agency. But even getting to a 6-figure agency, I couldn't do that myself, right? So I need the team, I need the talent, and it's about us all, you know, working towards that goal, right? You know, you've got your mission, you've got your vision, you've got your values, and it's about everybody working towards that, right? It's not about working for the man. And the other thing is that a lot of the staff that we do have, the talent members that we do have, are all local creatives and talent members, and that's a big portion of building the agency is giving people, creatives, opportunities to do what they love every day, right?
Exactly.
Because again, it's like you guys, it's like me, we're getting to do what we love every day. And if I can provide a way for those people to, enjoy that same feeling as well, then, you're going to get the best out of your people. So, I mean, people come and go from companies every single day, right? You can't hold somebody there. You can't, you can't make them stay, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's about training. It's about, upskilling. It's about making sure that the guys on your team, the guys and girls on your team are, high performers, right? You want them to perform as best you can. That takes an investment. And yes, there is a risk involved because they could leave. They could go and start up their own thing. They could move to another agency. But at the end of the day, that's exactly like the point you made there, that you want whoever is on your team at that time to be performing the best, and you've got to make that investment.
I love it.
Yeah, I love that too. Sorry, I'm gonna step in real quick. I love
Do it.
a few things, right? Like you're like, I need, you said kind of like, I need the team, right? You're like putting your ego aside first, and you're saying, hey, they can probably do it. But like you said, you want to be the dumbest person in the room. And I love that
100%.
Because you want to surround yourself with, I mean, not only winners, right? But like people that can do what you're doing in your business better than you are actually, that you can do it. So I love that side of leaving the ego aside. And I mean, at the end of the day, I see it as not to put it in bad terms, I don't want this to sound bad, but like it's an investment too, right? Like you're investing in that relationship, you're helping them grow. I mean, if they move on and they start their own business, they're not gonna forget about you, right? Like they might be like, hey, let's partner up, or hey, we need a digital marketer, etc. Like any of those. At the end of the day, I think it comes down, same as business, building relationships, right? Like when you get a new client, you're building that relationship too, that trust.
Yeah. So in your in kind of like your superpower, right? It's like building these brands, right? And we've seen many definitions of what a brand is. Like everybody has their own thing, and a lot of people are like, my brand is my logo, right? My colors and whatnot. I'm very interested to see like how you approach that and like what's brand for you. And then, you could go as wide as possible or as specific as possible, because I think this is really interesting, right? Especially when it comes to content. A lot of people are like, well, I need to have all these things that make it pretty, right, ready before I start producing my content. And we really saw a lot of progress is when we actually flipped the script and we're like, we just need to be consistent, right? And as soon as we started being consistent, results started to come, and then you can make it super pretty and stuff like that. So I'm interested to know, like, what do you see, like, what do you know, what's a brand, right, for you, and how can people like put it into their content and stuff like that?
Yeah, look, for me, I mean, there's so many ways that you can frame brand, but I do love the saying that brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room, right? So for me, in this day and age, brand is so important because consumers have so much choice, right? We've all got a smartphone. We can plug into this and purchase basically anything we want at any point from anyone, right? So choice has never been greater. So when it comes to, and we can stick to local brands, right? We can stick to local companies right now for the purpose of this show. Establishing and building a brand is going to attract you to customers. Like why does so many of us purchase an iPhone, right? Why does so many of us purchase specific runners or sneakers, right? It's because we have an affinity to that brand. We like what it stands for, we love the product, and we want to feel connected to it. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you're a local cafe or coffee shop, or whether you're a local retail store, or whether you're a local accountant. Like having that brand is what helps you separate yourself from the rest of the competition. And it's exactly what you said, Lewis. It's not about having the prettiest logo or the awesome, great colors or anything like that. It's about providing that value, right? Think of all the major brands in the world, right? you can think of any. I'm sure there's lots floating around your head right now.
Yeah.
You see their content, you see their digital marketing, you see their stuff regularly every single day. It comes back to that consistency, right? They're always there. They're always top of mind. So, recency and frequency plays a massive part. And it comes down to the value of your content, right? And I know for us, me personally, with my own personal content, and then with the agency's content, we've done terrible recently, right? I've been too focused on growing the business and haven't been doing enough of our own marketing. And that's on me. And I know that's got to improve, because in the last 6 to 8 months that I have been doing less content, leads have dried up, everything's slowed down, inquiries slowed down, right? And it's just a matter of being consistent and providing value, right? You can make it look pretty, you can work on that down the track, but being consistent, building brand, and getting people to resonate with you, like, that's the most important thing. It's just being in people's faces. You've got to be seen to sell.
Exactly.
Yeah. Another Chet Holmes phrase right there, right? Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Amen.
Exactly.
I'm sure you aren't Chet Holmes. I'm kidding. The one and only Anthony G. Murphy.
No, I relate a lot, because it was funny. Like, when we started with the content game, right? We were executing for different clients, and we had this story about how we actually started to be that consistency and frequency game. And we will meet with these clients, right? And they will be like, "Oh, the results are great, but we actually, started doing our creeper mode and saw your social media, and there's nothing there, right?" And we're like, "Oh, but don't worry, right? It's our clients." They're like, "No, but the level of rapport went from like up here all the way down just because of there was no safety net. There was no content there. There was like, just because we're executing outside." So we sat down and we're like, "Hey, how can we create consistently and frequently? Because we don't want to add friction to this. We want to make it." And for us, it meant doing Facebook Live. And that's one of the reasons we actually do this show here live, because it
we cannot escape it.
We cannot escape it. We have to publish, right? So it's incredible. So what like, from your point of view and the on the agency side, what are some things that, maybe it can be brick and mortars, it could be any kind of business right now, what are some things that they can start doing right now to get the ball rolling on consistency and publishing and anything else that goes around that area?
Yeah, 100%. And let's get into some practical, tactical tips for everyone listening, right? What you really need to focus on at the start and at any stage right through the process is having some planning in place, right? Like, if you don't plan it, if you don't make it a priority, it's not going to happen, right? My personal content, the agency's content, same thing. So much focus on the client side, which obviously there needs to be, but haven't had a plan in place, haven't had any structure, right? So what you need to do is tailor it to yourself, right? Don't jump in straight away and say, "I've got to post 5 times on Facebook. I've got to post 3 times a day on Instagram," right? Make it achievable. Start with something that you can handle, and then just do that, execute that. If it's not every day, it's every second day, right? Just be consistent. So make a plan, have some consistency, and stick to it. In terms of the actual content that you're putting out, the best way to structure it is, and I love your input here, guys, on what you've done. The best way to structure it is to try and create what's called like pillar content, right? So something that is bigger, whether it's a podcast show like this, whether it's a vlog, whether it's a long form blog post, right? Whatever medium that you're comfortable with, create something that's larger, and then you can break that content down into micro pieces later on, and you can hand that off to someone else. If you've got someone on your team, or you can send it off to somebody external to do that content breakdown, create the little videos, create the little snippets for you. But that's where you really need to come from. So create a piece of pillar content that is high value, and then break it down from there, so you've got lots of little pieces that can help you create that consistency. You guys agree?
Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna do
actually like 500%, and I think Fonzie is gonna explain why.
Well, I was gonna do a shameless plug here in our own podcast. If you guys have those pillar content and you need someone to repurpose it, chop it up, make it look super nice and sexy, guys, just let us know. Slide in
Send
our
it to
DMs and we'll do it for you because that's what we do.
Hey.
Hey, look at that. That was
By
perfect.
the way, guys, like Anthony had no idea that's what we did. By the way,
we didn't plan this out. We did it.
So thank you for the leeway there. But you know what you say is like is so true, right? Like because a lot of people like put these thoughts like, hey, they see the Gary V's, they see the Grant Cardones, they see like all these people are publishing and they have $20,000 like teams a month like behind them executing this like things for them. So they see and they try to model. What happens is like they try to do it 1-2 days and like, oh my gosh, this is too much. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do in like these 300 videos. And then they stop, right? And what happens when they stop is like what happened to us what is it, like a year ago, and what is happening to you, right, when you're not producing the content. Hey, it leads right up. So now we got to get that ball rolling again. So that's amazing, and thank you for sharing those tips, because that could be probably one of the easier ways to get started, right? And then after that pillar content is out, like you just said, then they can start moving and taking it to the next phase. And what that next phase looks like, it comes back to the planning. Yeah. How many times do I need to be consistent? How many times do I want to be present in front of my audience and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love it, especially obviously the long form content, that pillar content, how you call it. I love that because, again, you do it once big and then it can be repurposed in a lot. But in total honesty, how we started, right? Our question was, how can we remove friction, right? Again, we were thinking about the pillars and everything, but at the moment we were filming podcasts. Actually, we recorded a few episodes that we never published them because we put so much friction in front of us to edit them and do all the stuff that at the end we're like, but we just gonna leave them out there, you know? And so it wasn't until we were like, okay, let's do Facebook Live every single day for like a minute. Like, I mean, we have a minute. We spend hours every single day in our phones scrolling, doing whatever. I'm sure we can spare a few minutes to just hop on Facebook Live. It's going to be posted already. You don't have to do anything else. Just talk to the camera. And what we did is we focused on the problems, the conversations that we were having. My brother was focusing on documenting the day, right? What happened on today? How can I relate it to what I do? There's always a lesson that you can get from whatever happen in your day. You can relate it to what you did. And then from there, we were like, okay, this is working, removing the friction. Now let's build the pillar content, which is this podcast, and let's do it live. Let's take that friction away. Let's just go all into it. And I mean, it has worked wonders for us, obviously. And now that we have the team, everything, like, it's perfect because we do what we do for clients. Now we do it for ourselves as well with all the content that we're going out. So I absolutely love it. Absolutely agree. People, listen to Anthony and take notes.
Now, Anthony, so we've heard this phrase a couple times. It's, you know, your business only grows to the extent that you grow. What has been some ways that you've been like growing in these like past few years, where obviously you have a very successful business, you help a ton of businesses, you have an amazing team behind you or around you, I'll better say around you. But how, like, in what ways have you grown? And what are some advice that you can give to people that are looking to follow your footsteps?
Yeah, great question. And this is something that is like top of mind for me. I mean, we spoke about it a little bit before with mindset and growth and, you know, wanting to be the dumbest person in the room, right? For me, over the last couple of years, not only have I been obviously, you know, investing in building a team, and that obviously comes with its own challenges and you know, time commitments and things like that. But you learn how to, you know, work with other people and run a team, and it helps you grow as a person. For me personally, love like trying to educate myself, right? Like, so massive podcast fan, obviously, you know, love to read, love to get into books. And I'm really starting to ramp that up more now, getting back into books. But even from an investing in myself in terms of advisory and training and working with other people who are at another level, right? So I'm on track this year to spend more on advisory, coaches, mentors, that type of stuff than what I'm actually going to pay myself for the year, right? Wow. So I invested in, give him a shout out, Richard Bell, right? He is he's an investor, he's a board advisor, works with lots of companies around the world. And I invested a lot of money at the start of this year in a strategy session with him, right? He's been on the board of, multiple millions of dollar companies, right? He's been there, he's done it before. He's at a similar age to me, but having followed him for a long time, I know that he's got the skills and the knowledge that I want to try and tap into, right? So
yeah.
A great question to ask is not how, but who, right? And you might hear that one being floated around a lot lately, but it's so true. Like, you can get all the knowledge that you need from other people and then putting in the work yourself, combining those two things, it's a really powerful recipe. So working with Rich, being invested with Rich, working with another man by the name of Brett Campbell, who owns an agency here in Australia as well, also very, very successful. It'll also be a massive investment to work with him. But whether that's an advisory role, we want to put a board of advisors in place for the agency, right? We want that next level up from me, like I said before. So we're working on, investing into those people at a higher level to help us, achieve the goals we want to achieve. So it's all about taking some risk, putting your money where your mouth is, and just taking action.
Yeah,
man, I love it. Just so you know, Brett Campbell left a comment right here. He will say, let's see what he said.
Thanks, Brett.
Mr. Murphy bringing the heat.
That's right. Yeah. He brought the heat indeed. That's for sure. And I love what you said about who over how. I think that's, and I think that, it gets to a point, because I feel like when everybody starts their entrepreneurial journey, it's always about the how, right? Because I feel like we're looking for speed. And again, we have talked a lot about this, my worst enemy, instant gratification. But it's always like, how can I do this? How can I do this, right? How can I make this sales page convert quicker? Whatever, right? Whatever their how is. And it gets to a point when you are like, you know what? Like, it's not that. It's not the how. It's like, it's the who. Who I can go and learn from. Who has, been through the path that I want to, walk, and they have achieved what I want to achieve. And when you find those people and you start listening to them, it's a game changer. I mean, it happened to us. And another thing I want to say is we actually had Tyson Durfee not too long ago in the show. He is a rodeo champ. And
world champ.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm sorry, Tyson.
Come on.
I'm sorry, Tyson.
Yeah.
He's a rodeo world
man.
champ. Yeah. And he was saying that the investment should be painful.
Has to hurt.
It has to hurt for you to take action. And how many courses and how many how-to thingies are out there that they're not painful, yet we invest the money because and I was asking myself this question the other day. I was like, why do people buy things and then they don't execute? And I think it's the fact that you're spending that money, it makes you think that you already accomplished it, right? So when you put yourself in a painful situation, right? And we've been in that situation. I mean, we talked about the big investment that we did in coaching, right, with Steve Larson. Wow, it's a game changer because now you feel the pressure, but at the same time, you have that support system right next to you that is, guiding you, taking the right steps. Yeah. And we grew up as soccer players, so we always had a coach. And then we were like, okay, like if we have coaches playing sport, why don't we have coaches in business, right? It's just a shortcut. But I don't know why people don't see it like that. And it took us over 3 years to get to that point, right? Yeah. So I love what you said, and I really hope people can take away from that because it's just going to make your life easier, honestly.
Yeah. Anthony, to start wrapping things up, I know we got to be super respectful of your time.
It's been an awesome chat, guys.
We'll do round two.
Round two for sure.
In Australia.
Yeah, we'll do the live show over there.
We'll have like a bunch of like snakes in the background and stuff like that.
Yeah, you keep the snakes on your side.
And we'll do it in the longest golf course of Australia.
Exactly. Holding frisbees.
Make it happen.
Okay. So to start wrapping things up, Anthony, what would be like an action point, that people can implement today? We talked about a lot, and if we go back in the episode, we can probably find, good 5 or 6 that we can implement right now. But like, what's something that
I've got one.
You got one? Okay, go ahead.
I've got one, right? Really simple, really quick and easy. With your content, right? every time you pick up your phone to scroll through social media,
Yeah.
you have to post something yourself first.
Yes.
Right? So no trolling through Facebook, no trolling through Instagram or whatever platform until you've published a piece of content yourself. Your consistency will improve 1,000-fold straight away.
I love that. That is awesome. I actually never thought about that. And just to complement that, I'm reading a book right now called Tiny Habits by Dr. B.H. Fogg, right? And he actually talks about tiny habits are the way to building the big habits that we all want, correct? And I mean, that's why most people fail when they try to, put their New Year resolutions, all that stuff, because they're way too big. And he says you need to have anchor moments that you can tie to the new tiny habit that you want to develop.
Yeah.
So the anchor moment that you're saying right now is the scrolling through social media. So when you identify your anchor, then you can do your new behavior. The new behavior being publishing. So I loved it. As soon as he said it, I was like, wow, that is so cool.
Yeah, we actually have a funny story. I'm not sure if this is podcast worthy, but every time you go to the bathroom, you kind of sit there scrolling through the phone too. So
It's true.
We decided, you got to do it at least once a day.
We have a name for it.
Did we decide it on the name? And
we for sure.
hashtag poop posting.
Poop posting.
Okay, there we go. So every time we go to the bathroom, right, instead of scrolling, right? Oh my, okay, it's public, guys. Hashtag poop posting. Okay, go ahead, go execute. I think I'll take.
It's going to start trending.
Right? Oh my gosh. Okay, sweet. So to wrap things up, this is what we talk on the show, Anthony. We want to help our audience. We want to encourage them to actually start and taking those small action points, like the one that you just said. But we also want to see your success with it, right? Where will you be without publishing? We know that you publish, that you want to, level up as well, because, things happen in world and business, but where will you be without that publishing?
Wouldn't be here. Like the first 10 clients that we got in the agency all came through people DMing me and reaching out to me after seeing my content saying, can you help, right? So it's what got us to where we are today, and it's what will get us to the next level as well. We have to level up in order to level the business up. It's that simple. So look out, big things ahead.
Awesome, guys.
Thank you. Yeah.
You heard it.
You heard it
from the Australian expert.
Go ahead and publish. Anthony, how can people connect with you? How can people find you if they're interested, if they want to learn more about what you do?
Guys, you can find me on Instagram, Anthony G. Murphy, or if you'd like to find out more about the agency, just head to attentionmedia.com.au. Would love to chat with everybody. If you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out.
Yeah, and we're going to encourage you guys to go and send him lots of messages and lots of questions and lots of likes as well if you guys want to. That
sounds good. Anthony, don't leave. We have 2 minutes with you. With that being said...
Wait. I have one last question before we leave. Sorry.
Okay, all right.
Anthony, what does the G stands for? What is your middle name?
Jared.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'm still trying to connect with the person who has Anthony Murphy. They won't respond to me, but we'll work on it.
Honestly, I like the Anthony G. Murphy. I think it sounds cool, but I was curious. I was like, I wonder what is it.
All right. Well, awesome. if we find out who that person is and they get back to us, we'll definitely let you know.
Yeah.
Please reach out. Thank you.
There we go.
That'd be great.
Guys, please go ahead and follow Anthony. Reach out to him if you have any questions. With that being said, thank you so much for staying with us on the show. Please go ahead and subscribe to the Contents Profit podcast and follow us on social media at @BizBrosCo.
That's right, guys. And if you found this episode impactful, which I am sure you did, please don't forget to share it and leave a 5-star review.
Ciao.